everybody wants to become an entrepreneur as you see the landscape has been changing. What do you think?
I am actually against entrepreneurship until you're 30. When I started, there were literally no tech companies apart from Code Gen is the hottest topic of the town, where your Gen.Ai is writing the codes for you.
Can a non-technical person also create something?
It's very important to validate your idea and see if someone can pay you. Another best way to really validate your idea is by marketing and stories will help you sell, but product is what helps you retain.
True. In the tech field, is entrepreneurship one way to go ahead?
The chances of success of your startup is 20%.
Okay.
If you're able to convince 80 people out of those 100 people, then chances of your success is about.
So hello and welcome to another episode of Masterclass Podcast by College Vidya. और ये हम episode 5 shoot कर रहे हैं. This is going to be a very interesting podcast क्योंकि हमने उदित गोयनका के साथ podcast किया है, who is not just a founder of different SaaS platforms, but he's also an angel investor. I think you'll really love this episode क्योंकि उन्होंने अपनी पूरी journey share की है. कैसे एक SaaS platform, कोई भी tech platform को develop कर सकते हैं, कैसे उस company को build करते हैं, कैसे problem solving attitude से एक problem को ढूंढ करके उसको एक tech software में डाल करके एक product बनाते हैं, एक service बनाते हैं, वो आप इस episode में सीखेंगे. Udit is a serial entrepreneur, founder of PitchGround, Sales.io, TinyCheque, and is a visionary in the SaaS world. Let's dive straight into the question. Today we'll discuss about, SaaS, how to start a business in SaaS platforms and how to build a business around it, because you're going to talk to students and, working professionals. So, you're already a founder of a lot of companies, but students really want to start up something that you already have. You can start by talking about your own brands and companies that you have built, and then later talk about how can somebody else start their own journey.
Sure. So I'm a 5X founder and started very young at the age of 16. And I think my major breakthrough was at the age of 18, where I was one of the first person in the WordPress community to build a security plugin. Did about $350,000 at the age of 18 itself. And
massive.
That's when I knew that product is my calling. Right? Never been into service business after that, have been focusing on just building products. So that's how I started my entire journey and ventured into tech business since then. And I have been in tech business ever since then, right? I really enjoy tech. So in terms of starting a business, I think the first and foremost very important thing is to really understand what problem statement that you really want to solve. Because if you do not understand the depth of the problem statement, you will not be able to build the solutions around it. Don't just go ahead, try to copy someone and try to build a solution, because if you even go out there and try to sell them, if you do not understand the depth of the problem statement, you will not be able to even build a proper pitch and able to sell to people.
So at the age of 14, how did you have that kind of mindset? Who told you about, products and building softwares? Who got you intrigued into this?
So I got into gaming. Very, very, very early. There used to be a game known as Ragnarok. Okay. There was world's very first RPG real people game. Okay. Where you would be able to talk to people, right, inside
while
the game.
You're playing the game.
Yes, while playing
like
the game.
PUBG and all.
Yes, but in a very, very different manner and fashion altogether, right? You'll be able to build community. So Ragnarok was one of the first RPG game. And when I started playing that game, I was more intrigued about how it's being built rather than actually playing the game, right? And that's when I started researching how to make a game. That's when I learned, there's something known as coding. You have to learn coding, right? To write those games, to do that. And that's how I got started.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt. Now you can continue on how a person can. You were talking about the willingness.
Yeah. So I think first of all, you'll have to understand the problem statement. And I think once you have the depth of problem statement, then you can probably kind of validate your idea. Don't just go into building mode right away. So once you are able to validate your idea, probably just speak with 100 people and just try to see if they give you $1 each. right? So there's a $100 theory that I have always shared with a lot of founders, which is pretty popular, where I say that if you are able to convince 20 people out of those 100 people, the chances of success of your startup is 20%.
Okay.
If you're able to convince 80 people out of those 100 people, then chances of your success is about 80%, right? You've convinced 80 people to give you $1 each out of those 100 people. Now, by the time you reach to that 80, you would have gotten so much feedback.
Yeah.
You would have gotten so much, you would have done so much iterations on your ideas that every time you're pitching differently to understand what is convincing people to give them that $1 on your idea. So once you're able to do that, I think once you reach 80%, in about 3 months of time, you will have a very depth on your problem statement, which I think when you build a solution would be like accepted right away. This is also a way of finding a product market fit, right? Because you should only build those things that people actually want and not what you want.
But like, how do you identify the problem statement? What if the problem statement is only what I am thinking? Maybe it's actually not a problem. How do you market it?
So
then?
the best solutions have always come from your own problem statement to begin with. Right now, should you turn that into a product? It depends, right? Are you just building it for yourself first? Great. If you have built it for yourself, you will always find hundreds and thousands of people who are probably having very similar problems. And start with something as simple as Google Keyword Planner. If you just go and type in your problem statement over there, you will see how many people are searching. Use some tech out there. There is something known as Exploding Topic to see the trends of those particular problem statement at the same time. So for example, right now, code gen is the hottest topic of the town, where your Gen AI is writing the codes for you. So that's the hottest thing right now in the AI industry. So again, you have to keep up with the trend. That's the only way you can really make money at the same time.
What do you think about that product?
I think so. CodeGen is not a product, right? CodeGen is where it's a term, it's a coined term, right? Just like you have Gen AI that produces things. So inside Gen AI, you have CodeGen, right? Where your AI is writing your codes, basically.
Okay.
Right. So there are several products out there in the market right now that can do that. It depends upon what you're trying to build and use it accordingly.
So like it's beneficial and it works good?
Oh, absolutely. It works great. And again, the industry is at a very, very initial stage right now. The industry is expected to grow pretty aggressively.
Because there are a lot of other platforms that does the same thing.
No.
A lot of reels coming up about different
CodeGen is very new. It is just coming out right now. The major breakthroughs have happened in the recent few months itself.
Okay.
So again, we are at a very nascent stage right now at the moment.
So got deviated from a lot of topics, but as you told about how you can find a problem statement, research about it. There are so many keywords. There are platforms that help you do it. But like, what is the entire process of it? Like, what are the stages for it, and how have you found out the problem statement for your own products till now?
So generally, again, there are tools available, like I mentioned. If you don't have a problem statement, if you want to solve it for someone else, I think the best way to really understand is by going on Reddit. Just go on Reddit, people post their problem statement. There are a few subreddits where people literally say, build this and I'll buy. Right? Just make a solution for this, please. Right? So just go through it, navigate through it. Problem statements are everywhere. You can find it on Quora. People are going and asking questions, right? So wherever people are asking questions, that means people are looking for an answer. So generally, that's how you begin with. So try to categorize and then see if that's a problem statement that really excites you. If that problem statement is something that excites you, go and explore, talk to people. But like I said, don't jump into just building the product right away. Otherwise, there's a big chance it will actually not work.
So what are the stages, if you can take us through the entire stage of building a SaaS platform?
So again, step one is always identifying the problem statement. Once you've identified the problem statement, then the next step is to actually validate that. Try to find out who are your competitors right now, who are big, who are small. Do some research around how big the industry is. Is it an emerging industry? I generally pick emerging industries. I don't pick industries that are already mature. Because when you pick an emerging industries, they are generally small right now, but they are going to grow over a period of next 5 years timeline. When you do that, you might have a bit of challenge to sell initially, but at the same time, when the industry actually explodes in those areas, you will end up becoming a leader very quickly in that particular space.
True that.
Right? So find out emerging spaces where no one is working on right now. I always use something known as the blue ocean strategy. Right? Focus on building tech that no one is focusing on. So for example, legal tech in India is at a very nascent stage right now at the moment. So we had just launched Niyam.Ai, which is India's very first legal tech search platform that is completely powered by AI. So now the moment people start using it, people will never go back into doing things manually anymore, right? And now because we are one of the first few players to be able to come in and do it, by the time in the next 2-3 years when this industry grows, our competitors will try to make a mark where we are already a leader at that stage, right? So try to see if those are emerging markets. Once you've identified that, then try to find out at least 100 people. Talk to them. It's very important to validate your idea and see if someone can pay you. Another best way to really validate your idea is by just creating a simple landing page. Put about $100-$200 on your Facebook ad and put up a wait list. Hey, that sign up and will give you 80% or 90% discount. See how many people are signing up and make sure you collect their data, like their company name, how big is their team, right? Kind of like a small survey. If they fill up, that's great, right? Now, the moment you spend good $200-$300 on it, you might end up getting like 40-50 signups, probably, maybe more, maybe less, depending upon how you optimize your landing page and your copy. Once you have optimized that 40-50 data is very valuable at that stage. That kind of like, again, validates your idea. Now, imagine you have spent lakhs and crores of rupees into building product where no one wants it. Versus spending 15, 20, 30,000 rupees on validating your idea. Again, if you don't have much time in talking to people, this is just a way to do it, right? But again, for 30, 40,000 rupees, you end up validating your idea and potentially see if people are willing to buy or not, right? And then once you have done that, always just build a simple MVP. Don't try to build the entire product. Just build one functionality and again, ask the problem statement very well in those survey itself. So now you would know exactly what to build. Build that one functionality that majority of the people want. Go out there and try to sell them. Now, if they don't buy, that's a problem at that stage. So go back to the drawing board, iterate things further. And that's how you start growing your product business. That's how you build SaaS the right way.
I think validation is the key.
Validation is everything. Otherwise, you'll not achieve product market fit.
And how do you for the Niyam, what was Niyam.Ai, right? So which kind of group do you go to validate your product? Like what are those people? How do you choose those people? Okay, I'll go with these 500 people.
No, so for Niyam.Ai, what we did was we tapped into some lawyers network because it's a legal product, right? If we don't get a first-hand information about them enjoying the product at all, then it makes no sense for us to target audience. It makes no sense for us to target corporates or anyone else, right?
True.
So we reached out to a bunch of groups of lawyers, which were like 100, 200, 300 lawyers group. And we really got some very, very interesting.
Because not always internal team assessment works because
internal team assessment doesn't work when it comes to like user feedbacks because the way people use the product is very differently. So you have to directly talk to them, especially for the first 100, 200 users, you have to talk to them on call. If you're not on call, then at least on chat, you have to get critical feedback because the way you might be using the product is not necessarily that the other person is using the product in the exact same manner. So you have to again validate that and only then move forward.
Okay. I think well explained. I don't think a student should have problem with this. I think the basic must be clear. Today, everybody wants to become an entrepreneur. As you see, the landscape has been changing. What do you think, like in the tech field, is entrepreneurship one way to go ahead?
I am actually against entrepreneurship until you're 30. When I started, there were literally no tech companies apart from Infosys, TCS, Wipro. That was the only route for IT, if you want to get into IT. And it was a pure service business. There were hardly any product businesses out there. And even with those product businesses, they were hardly hiring. So the options were very limited. And during early stages is where you will make the maximum amount of mistakes. So if I were to go back in my teens, if this is what I would do, 18 to 22, 23, work for a bootstrap startup. Okay. Because you will learn how to optimize. From 23 to 25, 26. Work for a startup that has raised Series A. You will learn how to grow, how to invest money the right way in growth channels. You will understand GTM. And then from 26, 27 to about 30, 31, work for a corporate, because that's where you will potentially find your co-founder. You will make maximum amount of enterprise connections. Right. You will build a great network. You will probably make majority of your money at that stage during corporate at the same time, and you will end up having and building a corpus of about 1 to 5 crores for yourself by the time you hit 30. Right. Now you don't need to raise seed capital. Not just that, by the time you hit 30, you have a lot of maturity in terms of understanding a certain problem statement, because when you're 17, 18, you see everything around and you want to solve everything. Yeah. Right? And that's generally not a good idea. But by the time you hit 30, a lot of those things are pretty sorted. The average successful age of a founder is 40 in the world. 40? Yeah.
But we see these 22 years old coming up, building.
How many 22 year is there right now, and how many are successful? One in maybe 1 lakh?
The Zepto founders.
And how many 22-year-old are there right now? Probably like 20, 30 million, 40 million, 50 million in the world, 100 million. One is successful. Is that the ratio you want to bet on? No. No. Right? Also at the same time, entrepreneurship is also about timing. Yeah. Right? Sometimes timing just works out for you. Right? There's a lot of luck and timing involved in entrepreneurship, right? If someone wants to start a Zepto kind of a thing right now, they will not be able to do it. It will not work, right? Not because you cannot build the app or you cannot build all of those things. It's because of the fact that the demand that was there during COVID was very different than the demand that is there right now. And these players have already captured those market. So again, it's very important to understand all of these aspects, right? That don't play on one media PR that happens. Yeah. Look into millions of people who are still struggling to find that job, right? So while it could be inspiring, you have to be very realistic. That's right. At the same time, right? So rather take a very sort of like a bit of modern framework approach, because like I said, by the time you hit 30, you will have a depth of the problem statement. You would have built connections. Now, when you even want to go and raise capital, people will see your history. People will see that, okay, you have 10 to 12 years of working experience, and you will see investors wanting to fund you. Yeah. At the age of 18, 19, no one is going to cut a check to you. No one.
Well, that's very rare.
It's very rare. Especially in India, it's even rarer. That's the problem. So this is the framework I would have approached. And again, why do you want to make mistake on your money? Make mistake on other people's money. As simple as that.
Well said, though. So how important is personal branding? For example, if somebody is a 30 years old entrepreneur, do you think personal branding plays a very important role, or it's okay, depends on the product that you're offering?
I think yes and no. Yes, in the sense that people do get to know you. It can create some impact, but even if you don't do it, it's not like you're not going to be able to sell, right? So, for example, if you ask anyone who are the two founders of Google, barely anyone would be able to answer.
Now maybe people know, because
still people will not be able to answer, right? But if you ask who was the one of the co-founders apart from Steve Jobs for Apple, people will struggle to answer, right? It's not that he's not made money.
True.
So personal branding can make an impact, but at the same time, it's not like if you don't do it, your world will stop or you will not get businesses. It's just that you'll have a better visibility, and that visibility kind of like helps people to convince that, okay, you can deliver.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's your resume.
Yeah.
Right. But at the end of the day, after that resume is being cracked, once you get the interview and once you get the job, or if you get a work, if you cannot deliver, none of that will matter. So personal branding is just like that certificate that you get. But at the end of the day, if you cannot deliver value to your customers or to your employer or anywhere you're working at, right? Doesn't matter, the freelancer or as a job person or as an entrepreneur. If you cannot create value for someone else, you're not going to stick around for too long.
And I think for tech platforms, you don't need, depends also, but you don't need personal branding too much. The product has to talk.
So I have a very interesting quote right over here that marketing and stories will help you sell, but product is what helps you retain.
True. Completely.
Right? If your product is not spectacular, No matter how much marketing you do, no matter how much stories you tell, the amount of PR that you do, it will not help you to retain the customers. Hype will, like I said, only bring you signups, right? But the credit card swipes will come in from your product. So if you're a product company, focus on building a great product. Do not compromise on the quality of the product. Now, when I say that, I don't mean spend 2 years perfecting it, right? Take a gradual approach of building a product, which is build one thing at a time. Right? Build that, try to sell. Build something new, then try to sell, right? Take a bit of slower approach. Don't build 20 things and then try to sell when you realize that even one thing is not selling.
Exactly.
So that's the approach that you need to take.
Very few founders believe in, making their product right first. I have seen, even I've been into a lot of startups working, and I see that they just want to push it because first come first.
I have done that as well, right? I would not lie. I've done that as well, and I've learned from my mistakes, right? I think it's very important to understand that what I've realized in my 17 years of journey is product needs to win. Not your company, your customer needs to win. Not your company, right? Because if your products do not deliver that sort of a value to them, eventually no marketing hype is going to help you out in the long run.
Yeah.
Right. So focus on your product. Again, if you're a product company, if you're a tech company, make sure that you speak to your users. There is no other way to improve the product, right? That's the best way.
Product and good marketing is still good, or
no? Build a spectacular product. There is no other way around. Don't compromise on product experience, right? Again, doesn't mean that you spend 1 year, 2 years, 3 years trying to build just one thing, right? You gradually improve. So, like I said, build something, go into the market, get the feedback, improve on it, right? Now, don't push it very aggressively. Keep on iterating. So you onboard 50 users, then iterate. You onboard next 50 users, then iterate. Then you onboard 100 users and iterate, because now your platform is able to satisfy 200 users. That means you can onboard 200 more users. So gradually try to keep on doubling what you're doing, and that's how you will be able to find a product market fit.
Okay. Now let's educate everybody about different SaaS platforms. I mean, there are a lot of different kind of platforms one can get into and, explore what works for them. So if you could name,
I think
niches kind of a thing.
I think it really depends upon what category you want, because at the end of the day, SaaS stands for software as a service.
Yeah.
So what industry you want to cater, whether it's HR you want to cater, whether it's marketing you want to cater, which vertical, in an industry, which vertical you want to help out with. It can be marketing, it can be sales, right? It can be CXOs making certain decisions, it can be data, it can be data. It doesn't matter, right? You really have to see what problem statements that you understand better and you want to solve for.
Okay. Let's come to AI and optimization. It's been in the picture and it's so relevant today. Everything has been integrated, and as we were speaking off the camera as well. What do you think about the AI in the market? How it is going to change the tech landscape?
So Elon Musk had tweeted this a while back, and it's a very interesting tweet that AI will replace people who do not know how to use AI. Right? People who know AI will basically gonna start delivering 10x more value to the company.
Exactly.
So you have to start upskilling yourself. That is very important, right? Knowing how to use ChatGPT is very important. Most people will use ChatGPT as Google. Don't do that. Right? Don't use ChatGPT as a search engine. Right? You have to learn prompt engineering. I think prompt engineering is going to be critical over the course of next 2 years, and whoever doesn't know prompt engineering, doesn't matter whether he's a coder, the marketer, he's a salesperson, or even a matter of HR. If you do not know how to prompt engineer, you will have a huge challenges with regards to getting good desk job in the future.
And what do you think about the prompt engineering? It has a lot of scope.
100%, definitely.
Are there any courses for it as well? Can students now go and study about?
Again, just spend some time on YouTube. There you'll find plenty of information. I think the biggest problem that I've seen with people nowadays is they want to be spoon fed That's a big problem. Just go and explore, right?
There's
Go
so
on
much out
YouTube.
there
There's
already.
so much content out there. As a matter of fact, that even if you go in ChatGPT and teach me how to write prompt engineering,
will
you
tell
will
you.
get a text-based course right away, right? Learn how to use them, right? Again, spend time on YouTube.
Yeah.
And more importantly, try to change your surrounding with the right set of people as well, right? Who are talking about the same thing. That's very important, because if you don't surround yourself with right folks, you will again not progress in life. So again, start learning prompt engineering. Very,
And I
very
think
important.
Udit has learned everything from YouTube at the age of 16.
I've self-taught myself, right?
Yeah.
I buy books, I read them, I summarize books, I use summarized audios to keep myself updated. I spend a lot of time on Twitter learning about things. I spend a lot of time on Reddit trying to understand users.
Yeah.
I would spend a lot of time on upskilling myself. I would try to connect with people who are industry leaders, right? Try to pay them and buy their time for an hour, try to learn from them. So I do everything possible to learn from other people. And the resources out there, that's the only way to learn quickly in the market.
Basically, when I was asking you about, different categories one can venture into, I was trying to talk about different platforms, as in Slack and Zoom are like product-led kind of a platform. So
those are not really categories, right?
Okay.
Those are just communication channels. So again, it really comes down to what problem statement do you want to solve?
Okay.
Right, so there is no category in that sense. Otherwise, you will probably have 200 plus categories, right? So, for example, for this as well, to run this, right, you require a software.
Yeah.
Right, to book the meetings, you require a software. Today, if you want to, let's say, if you have ever used something like Urban Clap, right, that's a custom software. You again book slots, and so it really depends upon what problem statement that you're trying to solve.
So I basically want to talk about somebody who's not from a tech background. And now that person is creative, has some problems that they want to solve. What kind of platform would you recommend them? I read about no-code platforms. So Zapier is a no-code platform, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, but again, it's not a no-code platform. That's how they're positioned. It's just an automation engine, right? It's an if-else. Do this. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I wanted to ask about the product-led growth is a sustainable strategy or not, by which I mean, for example, Slack and Zoom, they are, basically giving you the opportunity to use their product without any subscription. So does that strategy work, or subscription-based strategy works?
Put up a langar over here and there'll be thousands of people wanting to eat the food, right? But then again, if I charge them, will there be those thousands of people? No. Right? I'm putting up an analogy for you. Softwares work exactly the same way. Just if you put things for free, anyone would come and use it, but that's not product market fit. Okay. Right? Product market fit is something where people would want to pay for it. That's a product market fit.
But what I meant to ask is that Zoom call, Slack, for example, they give you freemium time, you can use it without any payment.
That's a user acquisition strategy.
Yeah, that's what
that's very different than product market fit. Those are very different things.
So I wanted to ask that. Sorry for confusing you. So I wanted to ask that, does that work pretty well? Because they have captured a market where, the Indian audience is where they want to use the product, they don't want to pay.
So product market, so if you talk about a freemium strategy, it really depends upon whom you want to cater, what you want to do, how you want to do, what sort of a product that you have built, right? It really depends upon a lot of those things.
Would you ever use
It depends on the product, the kind of product that we are building, right? It will depend on that. So for example, sometimes you got to give people a bit of experience where people add in a bit of trial. So for example, in Niyam, you can have 3 conversations. Before we throw a pop-up, hey, now we have given you enough information, you have experienced the product in 15-20 seconds. Now you have to buy a subscription, right? And we give our users with Niyam specifically, you get an aha moment in 5 seconds, right? So there is something known as an aha moment in SaaS that you have to figure out. And any product business, if you cannot give that aha moment to people, you will not be able to convert them into a paying customer. So you have to find that aha moment that, oh my God, this is amazing. I need this, right? So when you give that feeling to someone, that is when you will see them buying at that stage.
Okay.
So for example, with Zoom, if you talk specifically, they give you, I think, 40 minutes for free.
45 minutes for free. Yeah.
And they know most meeting lasts for 1 hour. So now imagine you are kicked out of 45 minutes and it's an important meeting going on. You will be embarrassed, right? That's a strategy. They know that data. So similarly, different tools, different softwares give you that a bit of momentum. But then again, there are so many softwares who doesn't want to be bothered by free users at all, because they also consume a lot of support resources at the same time. Because if you do not provide support to the free users, they'll probably talk bad about you on the internet. Hey, like that support is bad and this and that, right? So instead of that, it's better option that if you are at a very initial stages, don't bother about freemium model. Just focus on paid customers.
But then how will you how will you capture the audience? How would more and more users use your...
It's not about more and more users. It's always about the right users. You don't want more users. You want the right users to come in and use the platform, right? So always build for the right users, not for more users.
Okay. Also depends on what is the product.
Absolutely.
And everything. What are the emerging fields or emerging, issues that can be solved, and do you think that holds a lot of potential in becoming viral? If you can give us something that's in your mind.
Again, I think it is very subjective, especially in B2B industry. It's very, very subjective. So for example, recently there was this one app that came out. I'm not going to name the app.
Okay.
Where what they do is they will allow you to scan a plant. And they will tell you the problems in that particular plant, and they will tell you what fertilizers and everything.
I think I would.
Right now, it's a very interesting idea. It went viral, and I think that app does close to around $900,000 a month. Right, which is insane. It's over $10 million business already, and it's completely bootstrapped. Right, I could have never thought about solving this particular problem ever, because again, I'm not too much into plants. But someone who was able to cater that particular need, because he or she who built it might have thought, how do I capture this? Right? How do I build this, solve this particular problem statement? And there are a lot of people who are very excited about farming.
Yeah.
Right? So there you go. Right? A problem has been solved at that stage.
So there is room for so many products to come up.
There are so many products you can... just look around the problem statement that you have in your daily life, and you can build an app. You don't need to just always build a typical SaaS, right? You can build a mobile app at the same time instead of a web app, and have a mobile app as a SaaS, basically, which can be pure B2C. So again, problem statements are all around. You will never find shortage of problem statements.
I think that's the future, creating products.
Creating products is the way to create wealth. Service industry helps you make money. If you want to create wealth for yourself, you cannot do it without a product.
Yeah.
So if you understand the difference between making money and creating wealth, you will understand that that's the only way to create wealth for yourself. Otherwise, it's not, because service industry typically gets valued 3 to 4 times of your ARR. And a product business typically gets valued anywhere from 15 to 40x of your ARR. Right? Yeah. And it's scalable with less people. Yeah. Service business is not scalable, right? The moment you acquire 5 new customers, you end up hiring 5 to 10 more team members to cater them, right? Tomorrow I can have 1,000 more users and I don't need to hire more people. Tomorrow I can have 10,000 more people. I don't need to hire, right? One of the best examples I can give you is of Midjourney, which is an AI platform to creating images. They are doing close to around $200 million in ARR. With a
whatever
team.
You type, the image is made from the AI.
The team is just 9 people. Right? WhatsApp, when it got sold, I think the team was 19 people.
So there's a lot of scope.
There's a lot of scope out there. You just need to find the right problem statement and then work. Today you have so much data to understand what people are searching for. All of this data did not really exist about 10-15 years ago.
Right.
So
very motivational.
Yeah. So it's up to you how much money you really want to make. How much money you want to make is equally proportionate to how much value you can deliver to someone's life. Completely. If you can deliver more value, you'll make more money. It's as simple as that.
I have 2-3 questions going in my mind. What keeps you motivated?
I think I really enjoy building software, and whenever anyone tells me that, hey, you are able to save me a lot of money, you are able to drive growth for my business, I think that really gives me the kick of going on, keep on building new things all the time, right? And yeah, I've always been a creator. in that sense, right? I don't really call myself a founder. I call myself as a creator. So I love creating new things all the time, and I think that's what keeps me going.
Can a non-technical person also create something?
Absolutely. Just learn. There are so many tools out there. Today, you can visualize your entire concept on V0 in a matter of one prompt, right? Once you are done with that, put your entire thing into Cloudy, 3.5 Sonnet. That will turn into a code. Right. Then use that code, put it into Cursor. It will design your entire backend. So in a matter of maybe 2 days, just watch a couple of videos of how to do it. In 2 days, you can have a very simple product built. Practice that way, right? Once you have that, now try to understand how to deploy it somewhere, right? So in a matter of a week of time, you can build a very small software. And if you want to start a side hustle where you just want to make, I don't know, probably like $1,000, $2,000, you can just have a side hustle.
Yeah.
That's it. And if it grows, it grows. If it doesn't grow, hey, you're still making some money here and there, right? Start slow. You don't need to rush. That's the whole
Make
point.
$100 million.
Yeah, don't focus. I think one of the biggest problems that I see with a lot of startup founders starting, again, this was me as well.
Young
is I want to build a $1 billion company. I want to build a $10 billion company. And I tell them, कि पहले 10 लाख पहुंच जाओ, पहले 1 लाख का सब्सक्रिप्शन भेज दो महीने का, उसके बाद 10 लाख पे पहुंचो, उसके बाद ट्राई टू रीच 1 करोड़, उसके बाद ट्राई टू रीच 5 करोड़, एंड देन स्लोली एंड स्टडीली बिल्ड ऑन इट. Don't try to rush on to building that, right? Sure, you can have that as a destination, but you need to focus on your journey and not the destination, right? Your destination should never be to build a unicorn. It needs to be, I want to solve this problem statement for 10,000 businesses or 1 lakh users over the course of next X month. If you are able to achieve that, you will make money. Irrespective, you will make money. Right? So the focus should never be on making money, but rather than, again, like I said, focus on solving people's problem.
And step by step.
Yeah.
Like, that's how it should be.
So imagine, like, we have editors over here. Imagine if I build an completely automated AI editor tool. Right?
That would be amazing.
People will buy right away. Right? So again, problem statements are out there. Just talk to them, understand, and see what problem statement is something people are really willing to pay for. Because again, if I am able to do that, I'm able to save a lot of time for them. And if I'm able to save time, they will end up taking more clients. Because of it, they will profit in more. So they don't mind paying a bit more at that stage. So if you look at Adobe, it's completely built on that particular principle. Today, every single designer is using them or Canva, because it saves people a huge amount of time. Absolutely. And people are paying for it, right? And once you understand that, then build things around it.
Got it. Okay, I think we have reached to the end of our, question answer rounds. I have, heard a lot about your third startup failing and how you, made it into a success later. So just share that with us so that it gets inspiring for all the viewers watching.
So I think after my first 2 startups that I sold for like multi-million-dollar exits, I was like on a high. I was like, okay, let's build this. That's when I was building my very first SaaS. I think I spent about good 2 years, a lot of money. 2-3 different teams tried to build it, right? No one could. So after 2 years, I had to like completely shut down. I lost some good amount of money, and I went into depression after that, right? Because you fly high and then you are like brought down to the ground, right? And I think that really made me a lot more humble in terms of my approach. And I think if I wouldn't have learned, because that was the time I connected with hundreds of different founders, I spoke with them, right? Try to understand what is their problem statement, why did they fail as well. And once I start getting all of those information is when I decided I'll build PitchGround, right? So I wrote the first prototype for it. I built an MVP and launched it. In just 21 days of launching, we did about $83,000 in sales. We closed our financial year in just 3 months. We did about $350,000. Next year, we did about over $1 million. And we just kept on growing from there, right? So sometimes, again, like I said, slowing down and understanding the depth of the problem statement can help you grow. And today, because of that, now I rebuild that failure again. And now, because of that failure, I'm also building TinyCheque, because I've gone into so much depth of understanding how to build SaaS, how to grow SaaS, that knowledge has really been helping me, right? So that is how generally it works, right? I think failures do teach you the biggest lessons in life that no other degrees or MBAs will be able to teach you. Yeah.
Just wanted to explain about your own brand so that our audience knows if they do not. So what does PitchGround do and what does TinyCheque do? If you can give like small.
Sure. So PitchGround is India's very first Amazon for SaaS platform. It's a SaaS marketplace just like Amazon. Firstest.io is my email outreaching tool where you're able to fill up your calendars with like leads. And TinyCheque is India's very first AI first SaaS venture studio, right? Where we're building amazing vertical focused SaaS in a very blue ocean strategy that no one wants to build. It cannot be VC funded because the market is not that big. But at the same time, it's not small enough where you cannot enter. But at the same time, it's an emerging market which is expected to grow over the course of next 5 to 10 years, right? So we pick up those markets, we build products around it, and we go live with them.
Last but not the least, how do you keep yourself updated in this fast
every day? I think I spend at least 2 hours every single day learning something new. Every single day.
Every single day.
You
said that you do not have any time in between. There's so many meetings and everything.
Yeah. So again, that includes, right? So I put in at least like good 14 to 16 hours of work. So out of that 2 hours, whenever I travel, I use that travel time to learn something new. I read a lot of things. Without that, it is impossible to upskill yourself, right?
Give us few sources where what you.
I think, as I mentioned earlier, read a lot of books. I use this app known as Blinkist. It summarizes the entire book in 15 minutes.
Okay.
Right. Very helpful because majority of the time, 90% of the content is same in every single book, right? It's a 10% nugget that you need to find. You get those nuggets over there. Then I would spend a lot of time reading on Reddit. I would spend a lot of time reading on Twitter because there's a lot of interesting conversations going on over there. Read conversations because they are human driven, right? That's where you learn. I spend a lot of time on YouTube again. If I want to go into depth of those topics, if I'm traveling, I would probably put up some podcast, try to like listen to certain things. Kya hai, kaise hai. And that's pretty much it, yeah. Like if you just spend good number of hours on a weekly basis, like you don't need to spend 14 hours like me keeping yourself updated, but even if you spend 1 or 2 hours a week on trying to keep yourself updated, you will be like ahead of 99.9% of the people in the world. So it's very, very important to like keep on upskilling yourself and keep yourself updated.
I mean, great. Just one thing more, like if you were not a founder, what would you be doing right now?
I don't know. I'm a Marwadi, so I don't know what else. No, what else I would have been doing, I don't know, right? I would probably, like I said, I would probably be a musician because I'm a certified guitarist. I learned guitar, so probably would have been there. But then again, I would have probably done something of my own, right?
Because wealth creation is important.
It's not just about wealth creation, but
also what you
being born and brought up in Marwadi family, I've been drilled into my head that you have to start something of your own. I have only seen businesses around my entire family everywhere, right? And my great grandfather was the one who started Geeta Press 100 years ago.
Whoa!
Right, so I come from that like Goenka tree and family.
This wasn't known to me.
So I come from that family tree. So businesses are like everywhere around me. So I've just seen like people doing business in both sides of my family,
that has been
my dad or mom. So yeah, I don't know. I've never done job in my 17 years, right? Again, I would have taken a different approach if it was a modern time. I would have taken a much more different approach because I would have focused more on learning during my 20s rather than failing. Because now you have resources, which wasn't the case about 10-15 years ago. But now I think things are a little different. So again, there is no one part to success. Just pick whatever you want. I just shared my framework that I feel would there's a higher chance of you achieving success with that particular framework. But then again, there is no one way of being successful in life. Whatever
Everybody
works
has
out
their own time.
Everyone has their own path. Follow your own path at the end of the day, and just enjoy the journey every single day.
And take inspiration from others so that you're motivated.
You have to learn from others. There's no other way. Stay humble, stay grounded, learn from other people. I think that's the only way to learn.
Thank you so much for talking to us.
Mine.
अगर आपकी कोई रिक्वेस्ट है कि हम लोग नेक्स्ट गेस्ट किसको बुलाएं अपने पॉडकास्ट पे, तो प्लीज कमेंट डाउन बिलो उनके नाम को एंड वी विल ट्राई द बेस्ट टू ब्रिंग देम ऑन बोर्ड ताकि वो हमें एक मास्टर क्लास दे सकें.